Hi internet, it feels like it's been a while, but it really hasn't. I just like haven't sat down and made a YouTube video for this channel because I've been busy with mine and my mum's channel and exhausted. I also have a quilt behind you that I'm meant to be quilting, but procrastination, am I right? I kind of wanted to come on here and talk about crime and crime videos and my thoughts around them because I love them. So I have always loved watching crime TV shows and crime documentaries and shit like that. Like The Bone Collector was my favorite movie until Lord of the Rings pushed it out. And like Lord of the Rings came out when I was 7. Then I was like obsessed with CSI when that first came out, and then CSI Miami and all the different CSIs I followed for a while. There was a while there where I wanted to be a crime scene investigator, and like my dad worked around them, and it was just like, it was mind blowing. I wanted to do it. I also wanted to be a medical examiner. NCIS did not help me with this. It made me want to be a medical examiner. And Patricia Cornwell's novels, the Scarpetta series, that really made me want to be a medical examiner. Until I found out like how much schooling you have to do for that. And some people tell me that like, oh no, you don't have to do that much. But when I read through it, it was like 10 years. And I even knew at a young age, I'm not that cut out for university or learning at all. But I watch crime videos on YouTube regularly, like the different girls that make videos about true crimes and things like that. Like Kendall Ray makes a heap, and Eleanor Neal, I think her name is, Bella Fiore. There's like other ones as well, but they're like the ones that I've recently watched that I can remember the names of, and I know there's others that I'm forgetting. But like I watch their YouTube videos about like true crime. The terrible part is that I've watched so many true crime TV shows, and I got really addicted to Deadly Women at one stage that I know a lot of them. Like it's not abnormal for me to be addicted to watching crime shows because I'm human and female. My dad's also really addicted to them. Like he loves watching them. We like love watching them together. Triggers my mind in a lot of ways, and I think it's the same reasons I really like antagonists a lot of the time when they're like three-dimensional antagonists, not like, oh, he's a big baddie so we don't like him because he's big and bad. Like I think they did a great job with Thanos in the latest Avengers movie. Like his plotline as a big baddie, oh my god, I loved him. And I could see like, it's always that twisted logic that gets me with like criminals or like antagonists, that like you can almost see what they were going for at a point, but it's just twisted in this one area that's made it wrong, or they're missing this, generally they're missing empathy, and that's what fucked them up. Trust me, I don't like criminals. I don't want to commit a crime, but I am very aware of the thin line that I could step over and snap and kill someone. I keep saying like the only thing that has stopped me from becoming a murderer or someone that like beats people and does bad shit is generally my empathy. And sometimes I can get like really enraged, and I have that instant gut reaction to lash out and do something. And I've like in my time just been like, nope, don't post that on Twitter. Don't go on Facebook and post that, Cassie. You're gonna regret it. Just sit back, wait an hour a day, consider it, rant to some people, and then see if it's as important to put out to the entire world or to kill someone. I think Monday or Tuesday was my murder day, which means I'm really tired, I'm on a short fuse and grumpy, and it's the point where I'm like, I really am envisioning ramming into that person's car, but they have a loving family probably and friends that will miss them, so I can't kill them, which is really fucked up that that's the reasoning I have for why you shouldn't be a murderer, because they probably have friends and family that love them and would miss them. It's my same reason for not committing suicide. People will probably miss you, but it's a bit of a failed logic, and it's not the only thing that stops me from killing people. As much as I say that, I wouldn't want to be responsible for ending someone's life personally, but also if I had to, like you're threatening my child, I can forget that people would miss you and that murder is bad. I know that that's like a human thing, and sometimes that's all that happens when someone murders people. Either they don't have that empathy there that goes, oh no, murdering this person will hurt them or hurt the people that they care about, or that's what they want to do. They want to hurt people. It's not a thing like, oh, I shouldn't hurt people. It's like, I really want to hurt some people. I want to murder them, I want to kill them. And I realize that like I have different levels of murderers and criminals in my mind for punishments. So like death penalty to me is an interesting topic because like on some regards, yeah, you don't deserve to breathe oxygen anymore. Get that person out of here. And on another, if someone else has taken it upon themselves to end someone's life, does that really mean that we should take it upon ourselves to end their lives, because two wrongs don't make a right? But also they should be punished. See, I can be very logical when it comes to like things that happen against adults. Rapists, I'm a bit more, can we kill them? Especially like when DNA is involved. Not just a, he raped me yesterday sort of scenario, but more of a, he raped me, here's the rape kit, here's the fucking proof, let's kill him now. Because I don't like when I hear about like convictions of people where they found all this circumstantial evidence, but they don't have like, you can't just go to a person, look at this, tell me without a doubt they murdered them. If you can do that, okay. If like you can give like 20 people in different continents like the same evidence, 20 people in each continent, sorry, the same evidence, and everyone will be like, oh shit, yeah, he murdered her, then yeah, sure, death penalty. But when it comes to a lot of circumstantial evidence or certain things, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if it should be an option, because you hear a lot, especially in the American justice system, about people that didn't commit crimes getting charged with crimes. Or like, there was one guy that I heard about, and literally a month after he died, they proved that he didn't do it. Like, it was someone else that had killed that person. The only problem is, then you get into like child rapists and child murderers and kidnappers. And then I get into the, not so much they need to die and not breathe my oxygen, but how can I torture them slowly? How can I make them really suffer? Like, what can I do that would make their life fucking miserable? And how long can I prolong that for, and then they inevitably die from it? That's kind of where my mind goes with those ones, but that's just because I know I'm overprotective. It's the same reason I don't want to have kids right now, because I'm overprotective and I don't want to ignite that. Again, rapists kind of get on that same line where I'm like, oh, you did what to a woman? Sir, I will murder you and you will die. And that's that. When it comes to, I think murderers, for some reason, I don't like that people murder. Sometimes I can understand it, especially if it's a self-defense thing. When it comes to twisted minds, they're just really interesting minds to like study, find out if some of them do have causes of why they ended up that way. And some of them like, because some people, there are literally few things that you can be like, oh, if we change this one thing in this person's life, they wouldn't have been a murderer or a serial killer. And that's really interesting to see. Or like the things that people are missing that let that be like a good outcome, or like what the outcome should be. That's interesting. But at the same time, I don't want to like popularize murders. I don't want to make them celebrities. Like, I hate that everyone knows like Charles Manson's name and face, and that in some circles, he's really popular and looked up to, and the same with the school shooters. I go on like Philly D's standpoint that some people, especially like serial killers and stuff, or murderers that end up, a lot of the time want the credit and the recognition for their work that they have done because they're narcissists or something like that. So I think it's almost detrimental that we're always like, here's the killer's name and face and profile. Let's all understand him. Like, I would if I was to get into like making true crime videos, I would more want to focus on facts of it, the victims, if there are things that they did that nothing's ever a victim's fault, obviously, but ways that we can learn from that and like just talk about the actual facts that happened and the psychology and stuff behind the murder or what they say, without like saying who the murderer is, or being like something like, okay, so all male murderers are John Smith, all females are Jane Smith, or something like that. And at the end of the video being like, okay, that's everything with this case. This is the actual murderer's name and face, in case you wanted to do some more research on these crimes, but I don't want to popularize them because they're fucking monsters. I think it's just more like the psychology of it interests me, but like I don't like the popularization of people, because like someone else that's a narcissist or something, well, other problem is with talking about crimes is like murderers learn from murderers, killers learn from killers. So it's like always that torn thing. I'm like, is it better to talk about these things so that like people know what to do in those circumstances? Or is it worse because people know what to do in those circumstances, if you get what I mean? And it's amazing like how many songs have been written about like mass shootings or mass murders and shit just because it sparks so many people's creativity. Like, I think there's a reason that everyone pictures the tortured artist is because sometimes the emotions that you get from such like vicious crimes, whether you identify with them or not, it feels so much emotion that like you could create something out of it. And yeah, I'm like kind of interested in it. But as I said, like if I did it, I wouldn't want to promote the murderer. Even though we're not celebrating what they did, kind of showing their face everywhere and everything is celebrating what they did. The only time that really you should focus on like who it is if they're still active, if they're still on the loose, if they're about to get released or something, and then be like, this is the person that did that terrible thing, don't forget that. But then also there's a side of me that's like, if we just remove that person's face from everything and their name, there could be a problem later on where, say, you end up meeting John Smith down the line and you can't find anything online about him, like you've googled him, nothing comes up because no one used his name or face when he committed those crimes. So you don't fucking know. Or like, yeah, there's this John Smith mentioned in like court documents, but there's no pictures of him, so it couldn't possibly be the same John Smith. That's another problem that I see. It's just like, no matter, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, really. It's always interesting for me as well to think of like, if I was in that position as the victim, what would I have done differently? Because asking the what ifs of what you would have done differently is really interesting, and then if you get put in circumstances where you are surprised or you are scared or something, seeing if you can actually implement them would be really interesting as well, or what your actual reaction would be. Like, maybe not a murderer, but you think someone's broken into your house. What's your first reaction? Do you hide? Do you run for the phone? Do you run downstairs and grab a knife? Do you get your dog and tell your dog that they must investigate with you? Because that's me. Literally, I think any time that I've managed to like convince myself that someone's broken into the house, I get the dogs to be with me so that if someone comes at me, I have the dogs to launch at them. And also, I'll get a knife and have my phone on me. So if I find anyone, either I can record their face and show my throw my phone away so that they can't get it and they don't know, or call the police. And yeah, that's also another thing. It's like whenever I hear about stories of people being put in boots and driven around, I'm just like, why didn't they use the boot release tag? Like, every boot, or a trunk, I guess you call them in America, has a safety release, so that if you are in the boot, you can pull that safety release and the trunk will open. Now, a smart murderer would disable that, but not enough people know about it. The other thing is, I know how to break into some locks on car boots, so I could like dismantle that. You've got the whole pushing the light out and sticking your hand, but that's not good in all models of cars, especially if your hands are compromised. I know a little bit about cars, so I know enough, and I'm like, oh yes, that would not work. That would work. That would not work. And generally, like the cases that I hear about people like getting out the most are the ones that like feed the murderers like ego and like feed their narcissism and pretend to be these meek little things that no, I won't do anything. And you don't take the first window of opportunity. In some cases they should fucking take that window of opportunity because it's the only window of opportunity they got. In other cases, don't take that first one, but take that second window, because they're lured into the false sense of security from the first one, unless they're testing you still. And then, see, I think I've got too much like of the writing side of me in me that like I just like to look at every possibility and think of everything. I'm terrible in arguments unless it's something that I like strongly believe, because I will argue both sides in the argument and the other half gets me for it every time. And I'm like, no, but like in this roundabout way, that's what I meant. I was just acknowledging that as well. But it's kind of a clusterfuck in this brain. I don't know, what are your guys' view on like murderers? Like, do you think that their names and faces and shit should be shown everywhere or not? Also, like, I get torn when I hear about cases where like the police have kept information from the public. At the same time, I'm like, ooh, that's a really smart idea because only the murderer knew that. And other times I'm like, but what if people would have been like, oh, that's the thing that has triggered my memory? Especially if the body's been found, like maybe not publicizing everything that's happened to it so that you can tell who's really admitting to the murder and who isn't. Because false confessions do happen a lot because murderers and criminals generally have a level of narcissism in them and they they want to be the center of attention and they want you to think that they've done these crimes and they want that attention from you. So they're gonna admit to something so that they get more attention. And that's why I also hear a lot in like abduction cases or times when a body's been missing and hasn't been found, or the murderer hasn't been found. Ex-criminals or murderers and shit that they might even be in prison will start taunting the family saying that they did it and they never did it, just so that they get that satisfaction from it, which is really weird and sick. That's why we should study their minds, but not show their faces. Cassie's view on murderers: study their minds, don't show their faces unless they're active. If they're active, show their fucking face. But there have been so many times in my life where I've been like, ooh, that looks like a kind of dodgy situation, and it's not. Or I used to, if I got creeped out and I was walking somewhere, I'd take random pictures of my surroundings so that people could see when I stopped taking pictures in case I was taken. Then I throw my phone away and people can find my phone. Or I hide my phone and I drop my phone somewhere where they can find it. That is also why a lot of the time my location settings are enabled on certain things with my devices so that I can always be found via my mobile phone. But that doesn't always work either. Really, it's just, again, with that one, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If I was a murderer, that would be a terrible thing. And then some people, like some murderers, will turn off their phone. Like, bro, they know you've turned off your phone. Like, fuck. You're better off leaving it with the mate, telling the mate to just occasionally check your phone and use it at this one location. But they might dug you into. There's like no straight answer. I hope this video ends up making sense. I might have to edit it. I might do some zoom ins and zooms out. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I will talk to you later. Maybe about murderers, maybe not, just to clarify. I can like kind of understand murderers sometimes. Rapists, I want to fucking murder. They would turn me into murderers. I don't know what it is about like rape I know what it is about rape that makes me want to kill rapists, but it's just like, I don't like it. It is the crime that I hate the most, especially when it's against children. At least murder, they're dead. Rapists, your fucking victim has to live with that. Some people, they've been abducted and tortured, but also murdered. You've decided that you're God and you can end that person's life. This is a lot of the time a God complex. It's very interesting. If anyone has any more insight on it, like anyone studying psychology or anything, let me know. I would like to talk about this because it really interests me. Okay, bye.